Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. At the end of another week and the end of another poll, we've got a winner with the Shadowrun Fields of Fire sourcebook, a mercenary sourcebook with equipment and rules for playing more military characters than the average Shadowrunner. Now we'll have a look at that on the desktop in a wee second. As usual, I'll be back at the end of the video with some other poll related stuff, some other channel related stuff, and this time some personal stuff, just to keep you in the loop as to what's happening with me. But in the meantime, if you'd like to help the channel out, or you'd like to see these videos a week early, then there's a Patreon in the description down below. So you click on that, you can check it out and see how you can help us out. It'd be very much appreciated. Anyway, let's have a look at Fields of Fire. So, this is Fields of Fire for Shadowrun. Came out in 1994. And putting it squarely in Shadowrun 2nd Edition territory, from a period where Shadowrun was doing some absolutely stellar work. The tail end of 1st Edition and the beginning of 2nd Edition, they were really knocking it out of the park with every book, doing some fantastic work. They really had their style down and they were fleshing out the world in some wonderful ways. Now, whereas most of Shadowrun is based around Shadowrunners themselves, unprofessional guns for hire, people who are parts of gangs, people who are street toughs, people who are gifted with magic, and they also have the luck of being sinless. They have no system identification number, so they can't be tracked, making them perfect for breaking into corporations, because if they leave fingerprints or DNA samples behind, there's no records on the system to track it back to them. They are kind of invisible, because they've been born poor. But Shadowrunners, because of this fluke of birth, tend to be very unprofessional. They're just ordinary people who end up shooting guns. Now, they can become incredibly skilled and incredibly powerful mages and martial artists and street samurai and all that, but they're not trained. Whereas Fields of Fire is about mercenaries, the people who do this professionally. They will tend to have system identification numbers. They're not perfect Shadowrunners, but they have had military training, they know all tactics, and they come with better equipment. And that's what this book's about. It's about military tactics, about military equipment. It's really gearing up people to be better than the average Shadowrunner. And of course, the average Shadowrunner will want the stuff in this book, because it's good. But let's have a look at the back cover. The streets are a violent place, as dangerous as any battlefield, and the lessons men and women learn on those fields of fire can save their reputations and their lives in any combat situation. Fields of Fire is the mercenary sourcebook for Shadowrun. Information on how to act like a professional merc, and pages of new weapons, support gear, and optional combat rules, clarifications, and expansions make this book something no merc or runner should live without. Fields of Fire is a sourcebook for Shadowrun 2nd Edition. Now, inside, after once again looking at that lovely cover, we see the artwork quality is decent. The layout they had really got going by this point. Some lovely artwork, very good vehicles and weapons diagrams throughout. The introduction going straight into the Welcome to Shadowland page, which, as I've said before, I absolutely adore. It's laid out like a database, but it's hinting on what's coming up. So basically it's telling us that you can download, so you can go out and buy source books on Turner Nog, Corporate Shadow Files, Paranormal Animals of Europe, but not available yet is the Denver books or the Lone Star Security Uncovered. They are what's coming up, so they are not available yet. I love the way this is laid out. We go into Fields of Fire itself, the first section, which describes the life of a mercenary. What they are, being a mercenary, what basic operations are, interpersonal skills, how to speak, how to act, how to write, laying out that these are really professional warriors. Whereas Shadowrunners will be part of a gang, they'll be used to speaking to other gangs. They don't really know how to communicate on a military format to organize themselves well. How to dress, preparedness, types of work. So we've got corporate work, we've got government work here. Types of operations from open warfare, guerrilla warfare, displays, bug hunts, security work, professional services. Different hotspots you might operate in. South America, Aslan, the Far East, Australia, Africa. And it's talking about the end of the mercenary. But then we go straight into the equipment section. So we've got, as usually laid out in these books, a nice image of the weapon, a short sales script, the stats, and then we've got Shadowrunner's comments. So people who have used this weapon or have points of view from seeing it in operation. So we've got the Hammerly Model 610S. We look at it and it does 6L damage. So it's a very light weapon. While it looks like a heavy pistol, you know, Desert Eagle or something like that, it's very light in combat. You know, it's way down here with like the Walther PBK type weapon here, the PB-120. A very small firearm. And it's like I'm going to pack a gun like this. Please, kill me now. Looks whiz though. Yeah, it looks great, but it's not a great gun. Flicking over, the Savaletti Guardian, which is a very nice weapon, 9M, so a nice high target number. Difficult to get that damage down. The Ingram Warrior. Colt Cobras. Ingram Supermac 100. Does light damage, but fires a lot of bullets. Can lay down a lot of lead, as they say. Colt M23. Ares Alpha Combat Gun. Ares High Velocity Assault Rifle, Barrett Model 121 Heavy Sniper Rifle, doing 14 deadly damage, absolutely masses of damage. Remington 990 shotguns, Franchi Spaz 22, just a lot of professional weapons that mercenaries might use. Ares HV MP light machine gun, anti-armor weapon, the Great Dragon, anti-tank general missile, I think it is. Anti-tank guided missile. Arbleast medium anti-armor weapon. So various missiles, missile launchers, ways of doing massive damage. The Ballista multi-role missile launcher. So a backpack one where all you hold is the target designator in your hand. So you just point a small pistol-like device at a target and the backpack targets it and fires, with the laser designator coming out of the pistol part. A fantastic weapon for somebody who doesn't want to struggle pulling out a missile launcher and aiming it. They've just got a small trigger thing to grab. And this is starting to lay down one of the elements of this book. It lays down the future soldier concept. This is where I probably became aware of it most, because this book really does a great job of laying it out clearly. The idea that a soldier on the battlefield should be networked into everything else. So while this guy can use his laser designator on his backpack to aim his missile, if he needs heavier firepower, all the information from this is getting relayed through this device here, which is like a smartphone, back through the networks, being broadcast by planes overhead, by various blimps, drones, etc., back to perhaps a warship miles away or a plane loitering hundreds of miles away who can unleash firepower and missiles far beyond what the soldier can carry at the target. So every soldier has access to all this firepower, but it's going through the command structure, and the command structure can decide where to target everything. If one soldier sees something with his rinky-dinky little laser designator, then he can lay down the firepower of the entire army. Got various rocket and missile rounds here, mortars and mortar rounds, sentry weapons, for those who loved that scene in Aliens, or the extended version of Aliens. MP laser, so a powered up version of the MP laser out of the Street Samurai catalogue. The fire lance, vehicle laser, different types of ammunition, including tracer and explosive rounds. Got camouflage clothing, various gel packs. One of the things I love about the camouflage clothing is there's a paper version of it in here. So basically you can camouflage yourself and then just tear it off. We've got military grade armor, because in the Shadowrun rulebook, the security armor, but this is actually the full military, almost powered sets of armor, which gives ridiculously high ratings. 14 ballistic, 9 impact. Cougar fine blades, Smart Link level 2, climbing gear, battle tack integration system, which is the key part of what I was talking about, where you can see where everything is, call in airstrikes, etc. on a wrist-mounted computer. Tactical communication systems, 2 pages sticking together here. Target designators, GPS systems, a silent disposable glider that troops can fly in, small light combat vehicles, then we've got APCs and light tanks, medium transport planes, various types of drones, the steel links, the yellow jacket attack helicopters, vehicle smoke generators, ablative armor, and then we're on to rules. So this is mentioning that everything's optional. We can talk through armor degradation. Do we want that when people get shot, you're blowing holes in their armor and their armor's getting weaker? Athletics checks for climbing to handle all that. Rappelling down buildings, cliff faces across the battlefield. Running rules. Then we've got the battle tack system, which is talking about this that I was discussing there. This is the most straightforward way to explain the benefits of battle tack similar systems is to say everyone using the system can freely exchange various types of data and information without restriction. This data may include map positioning, enemy position, current status, targeting data, video and oral information, tactical requests and commands, and anything else of import to the soldier. So the commanding officer can see everything every soldier can see, and every soldier can get access to everything else. So you can see around corners if one of your soldiers can see it. It's a fantastically flexible system, very much the future soldier concept. Cased versus caseless ammo, combat accidents, custom weapons, delayed grenades, low light and thermal systems, going into more detail how they operate on a battlefield, rates of fire, offhand training, using second weapons, pulling punches, recoil and strength. Then we've got the sentry guns and how they operate. Sound suppression on shotguns. Practically speaking, shotguns cannot use a silencer. Small unit tactics. The rules for the Smart Link level 2. Laser sights. Reflected energy designators. Telecommunication systems. How white phosphorus is used on the battlefield. And then we've got the attributes for various weapons. The damage for all the different weapons. Going through everything in this source book and the main rules themselves. All the different ammos, weapon accessories, so you can bolt on bipods, magnification scopes, smart gun links, everything to your weapon. Different types of explosives, armor, lifestyle things. Not quite sure why that's in a mercenary source book. You know, how much does a music disc cost? Media equipment, so different types of cameras and playback devices, musical instruments. Basically, it's updating absolutely everything. You know, a Super Stadium replay device, direct digital output adapters, surveillance and security devices, so bug scanners, jammers, all the prices of all the equipment. And then we've got a big list of all the cyber tech, going right through skill wires, bone lacing, the different BioWare things, updating all these from 1st edition to 2nd edition, so this sourcebook really gives you everything which you had access to before. Cyber decks, magical equipment including foci, different vehicles, including drones, different vehicle weapons, and the rig of vehicle gear. And at the end, we've got an advert for the Shadowrun network, and a nice picture of a tank, and finished. So that was Fields of Fire for Shadowrun, and that won the poll this week, and I'm very, very glad it did, because it's a book I'm familiar with, and that's kind of what I needed this week. You see, normally in my weekly routine, I spend 2 nights a week caring for my elderly mother. She's 91 years old, She's got Alzheimer's, she's got Parkinson's disease, and she's got dementia. So she needs full-time care. Unfortunately, my older brother, who's retired from his work, has moved in with her and is her full-time carer. But I give him 2 nights off a week, so he's not totally overwhelmed with everything. And it's my mum, so I like spending time with her and looking after her. But because I'm only tending to her needs whenever she really requires something, I tend to take along on a Friday night the winner of the poll. It's usually pretty clear on what it's going to be by that point, so I take it along and have a read over it while she's watching some TV, or we're looking through photo albums, or she snoozes. And that's when I do my review of the book and catch up. So I've got 3 or 4 hours there to research what I'm going to be talking about the next day on the video. But this week, she got hospitalised. She's been suffering from sepsis, which is quite a serious condition. It's led to her being feverish, her suffering from delusions. She's constantly convinced at the moment that there's a bird flying around the room. But she's very, very ill. So every night this week I've been at the hospital. And I just didn't have time to do any reviewing of the books. So I'm very glad that won. So thank you for that, even though you didn't know you were doing it. It's a book I'm hugely familiar with, and I've really enjoyed covering it again. Anyway, having a look at that, it won with 28% of the poll. It was only a bit ahead of the Psionics Handbook for 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons on 22%. Again, that was a sliver ahead of the Dark Text sourcebook for Dark Conspiracy, which had 21%. And I'm so surprised at that doing well. There's been a few Dark Conspiracy books in, and they don't tend to do terribly well. While Games Designers Workshop books, like Twilight 2000 stuff, tends to do well in the polls, Dark Conspiracy hasn't for some weird reason. Behind that, tying on 14%, was Secrets of Shadowrun and the Alternity Campaign Kit. Now, these were things which I thought the Secrets of Shadowrun might do a lot better, because my recent coverage of the Street Fighter RPG has been hugely popular. So I was a bit surprised that didn't do better, but the Alternity Campaign Kit, I didn't even know I had when I put it into the poll. I just discovered it on a shelf. I don't know why I'd bought it way back in, when did it come out, 1998? Because I didn't have Alternity, a role-playing game, until 2021 when I bought it. So who knows why I bought the campaign kit. It's much of a surprise to me. Anyway, they're all cleared out of the poll. And I'm going for a Retro Adventures again. So going in this week, another Alternity book. Perhaps this was why I bought the campaign kit. Perhaps I was planning on buying it way back in the day. But I bought an adventure called The Last Warhulk for Alternity. We also got At Your Door for Call of Cthulhu from 1990. A fantastic campaign. I've run this. It's really interesting modern day campaign for Cthulhu. We've got Operation Rapid Strike for TSR's top secret role-playing game from 1980, the oldest adventure in this poll. These tend to be very slim books, but there's packed with ideas. So that's for their spy game, James Bond type game. Next up, we've got the Nightwalker The Villy Affair for Millennium's End. Now, I've raved about Millennium's End so many times. I've run a couple of the adventures out of this book. They are a whole load of fun, and Millennium's End is one of the best looking, best presented, most interesting role-playing games which sank without a trace as soon as the Millennium hit. And finally, we've got Harlequin for Shadowrun, which is a campaign which starts to bring Shadowrunners into the more mythic, magical aspects of the world. This is really where the meta campaign of Shadowrun started. So they are really all interesting adventures, and I'd love to cover them. But let's see where the poll goes. It'll be fun whatever happens. On other channel-related stuff, I'm really trying to get the Discord, but obviously we've been out of the house every single night at the hospital. I just haven't had chance recently. As soon as things improve, I will focus on this. We'll try and get some games going. We'll try and have some fun on the Discord. I can only apologise, but obviously I have bigger fish to fry at the moment. Anyway, I have whittled on for far too long as usual. So thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.